Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
I want to welcome you to Harvester this morning. Will you bow your heads and pray with me? Father, thank you so much for who you are. I pray that this morning we learn deeper lessons than what we may think is there, Lord. And I pray that your Holy Spirit just moves in our life. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I gotta say something. I don't know how many of you can be honest, how many of you were uncomfortable that I was wearing a hat on stage in a Cardinals jersey. By the way, this is for Mr. Brian over here. It is. I know he was uncomfortable, but hey, did the worship team do an awesome job? I tell you, I completely missed. I was supposed to introduce Brian this morning, and you know your pastor, I'm yapping out there. Different people completely missed it, but no better introduction than just awesome worship this morning. Thank you guys, to all of you who helped with the team. This hat has given me trouble a couple of times. In fact, my dad gave me this hat right before I left Mexico, and I came to the States, and I keep it, and it's something that it's dear to me. But it's given me trouble because a couple of times, especially when I first came to the States in Bible college, I was wearing it, and it was time to pray, and I just didn't take it off. And when we're going to talk about one thing that I think it seems to be a surface issue, but it actually is a deeper issue in our lives. And this is called reverence. See, we're starting a series called Kingdom Come that deals with the Lord's Prayer and how Jesus not only He modeled prayer for us, but He actually modeled through His life this prayer. In the first few words, just as you heard it, are the following words. And we know it. Our Father in heaven, hallowed what?
Be thy name.
Thy name, your name, depending on the version you're reading. Hallowed be your name. And the word hallowed means treated with respect, with highest honor, and set apart as holy. See, Jesus in this first sentence, it essentially covers the first three commandments. If you were to flip your Bibles over to Exodus chapter 20, here's what it says. The first three commandments are as follows. Number 1, you shall have no other God before me. Number 2, you shall not make for yourself an idol. And number 3, you shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God, for the Lord will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses His what? His name. Now, just from the outside perspective, doesn't God seem a little bit picky? It's like He's this God of grace and kindness, and you're like, man, you're a little worked up about your name. Why would He do that about His name, right? Because, there's this sense that we don't understand. There's this connection between who we are and our names. If you were to ask me, who are you? If someone asks you, who are you? What do you say? Well, I'm Gustavo Vega. Or anymore, I say, I'm Gus Vega. Gustavo is hard on some, for some people, and I don't want to confuse them, and so I just say, I'm Gus Vega. And then, but you really, if I was to ask you, who are you? Then you might say, well, I'm a husband, or I'm a follower of Jesus, or I'm a doctor, or a lawyer, or, a mechanic, whatever it is that you do. See, we always have a label. And it is impossible to really explain through words who a person is, but we do it all the time because that's the closest we can get. To convey an idea, we use language to do it. And to convey the idea of God, He has used language to do it. And so God, we know Him as a triune God. The concept of the Trinity is something that came about to help us understand who God is. But in fact, there are many names for God throughout Scripture. And I hope that these names convey something. See, we need to ask the question, who is God? And Jesus started his prayer by hallowing, by revering His name, by giving honor and respect to God's name for one reason. We need to start prayers the same way. We need to live out our lives in the same way for one reason. It puts God into perspective. See, the God that we're praying to is way bigger than most of the time we make it out to be. I want you to listen to a few names that are in Scripture about God. And maybe you can pick one that really sticks with you, that really speaks to you about the Lord. Here are His names, some of His names. Alpha and Omega. The Abba Father, which means like dad or father, but it's a really, dear name. The Ancient of Days, the Anointed One, the God who gave you birth, God of knowledge, the God Most High, the Everlasting God, the God who sees, God Almighty, the Creator, the Self-Existent One, or the I Am, the Lord Creator. The Lord is my banner, which means He goes ahead into victory. The Lord is my shepherd, the Lord that heals. The Lord is peace, the Lord is there, which tells us that He's everywhere of His omnipresence. The Lord of hosts, the Lord of righteousness, the Lord will provide. Which one speaks to you the best? One of the things that we always have a tendency to do when we talk about reverence to God is about, always goes about what we say and about what we wear or we don't wear. But really, reverence to God goes much deeper. It goes into a sense of awe of who we're praying to, of who we have the honor of living in relationship with. And when Jesus reigns in our lives, things change. See, when Jesus reigns in our lives, we become people of prayer, like we saw last week. But when Jesus reigns in our lives, we become people who live in reverence of God. Now, what we need to understand is that reverence is not just a formula. See, and I want to ask this question. Do you think that if I put this hat on and pray, I'm going to mess up my hairs? And I did say it in plural, because pretty soon it's going to be a singular. Do you think that God is really offended if I pray with a hat on? Is God really not revered? No, but then what is it? How do we come up with this, right? Maybe some of you might point out to 1 Corinthians 11, right? Mention, cover their heads when they pray, and you have to go into why that was said. Now, there are multiple layers to reverence, and this is what I want to talk about, because there's a layer that says we need to consider our direct relationship with God, and that's a sense of reverence. And would He be upset? But then also, or would He feel like we're not honoring Him? But also, there's a horizontal level of reverence. What do I make people think about my God? See, and that's also something that we need to consider. And so when we talk about reverence in living, we need to recognize reverence is not a formula. It's a lifestyle. Reverence is not a formula. It's a lifestyle. See, we need to learn to honor God with everything that we have, with how we live, not just with our words or with what we wear. See, the problem that many churches, have is that we are very good at honoring God with certain things, but we fail to see what's behind those things. And so while, we all might take our hats off, and that's a great thing. If we do it for our nation, I think if we do it before the flag, before the national anthem, why wouldn't we do it before our Lord when we go to Him in prayer? So I'm not saying, by the way, that we don't need to wear hats. I'm just pointing out to the fact that there's different levels of reverence. And we need to try to go. My hope is that we can go into the deepest level of reverence, which is our lifestyle, a lifestyle of reverence. See, we need to honor God, first of all, with our words. And how do we do that? Reverence starts by simply meaning what we say. Let's go into Matthew 5:33 and on. This is what Jesus was saying. In the same message that He spoke about prayer, He said this. Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but keep the oaths you have made to the Lord. But I tell you, do not swear at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by earth, for it is His footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. Simply let your yes be yes, and your no be no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. Those are some strong words about reverence. And the first thing that Jesus wants to make clear is, if we want to be reverent with our words, we need to just mean what we say. One of the things that people like to do is when they are trying to convince someone, is we try to swear, right? Like, I swear to you by ... And you can say, mom, dad, family, work, whatever it is, and then some people say God and Jesus, whatever else it comes along. And we need to be careful that we don't take God's name in vain. Because we have no power over all of these things. We don't have any power over the life of someone that we love. We don't have any power over our own lives. Jesus said not even over one hair. And we all know that, right? And of course we don't have any power over God. But let your yes be yes and your no be no. When we talk about reverence, the starting point, let's just mean what we say. But not only that, we show reverence to God when we have consistency of speech, when our speech is consistent, when the way in which we talk is consistent. Let's flip over to James chapter 3, verses 9 and on. By the way, if you don't have a Bible with you and you want a Bible, we have our, carry over there, can get you one. Just raise your hand, you can get you one. And if you don't own a Bible, we want this to be yours. You can keep it. But James 3:9 says this: with the tongue we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water. So Jesus goes into another part. So first thing, we need to mean what we say if we want to be reverent with our words before the Lord. Number two, we want to make sure that we are consistent in our speech. One of the things that I think is totally unfair is that Christians don't have cuss words. We don't have any cuss words. So what happens when you hit your hand with a hammer? Right, exactly. So think, but we gotta step back and think, okay, what is a cuss word in the first place? I mean, who made up these 4-letter words that we consider now cuss words and offensive, right? We gotta start thinking, what makes them that? See, when you look up what the word cursing is, it really, the best thing to describe it is like judgment. We're making judgments. The reason why sometimes they're offensive is because we are calling someone out. We're determining who someone is with a certain word. We're making judgments. Now, I think there are 3 types of cursing, okay? The first one is the intentional, outwardly, cussing or cursing that you see and you hear probably, depending on where you work, all the time. Is the person that just wants to make judgments, that gets mad and just names someone something, makes comparisons, makes a judgment, and then does it in a way to insult them with mean intentions or evil intentions. I mean, this is just the intentional, outwardly cursing. And you probably, just hear it. Now, there's also the unintentionally, outwardly cursing. This is the person that, you just grew up in an environment. And you get used to hearing certain things, reacting in a certain way, and repeating that. And I think that this is what happened to me when I first received the Lord and was baptized. I realized that my mouth, the next day on the Monday, somehow the baptism missed it. You know what I mean? It just completely, stayed up. And so I realized, not too long after I was baptized and, received the Lord and just wanting to, be in His Word, He spoke to me in this same area and He said, okay, listen, I'm transforming you, but your mouth is not being transformed. And so it's something that I had to start working on. And it was a process that took a few months before I could let go of some things. But you know what? For me, it was mostly unintentionally, outwardly cursing. It's not something like I just wanted to be mean to people. It was more like that's the way that people spoke around me. My circle of friends up until this point at school, that's what they said. And so I would say it as well to whether fit in or, try to be cool. Whatever it was, it was unintentional. Now, maybe someone, and my mom probably would challenge me, say because I would never say it at home. And so maybe it wasn't so unintentional, but whatever it was habitual. What I want to ask, and I always think about is why in unintentional situations when we're scared, we get surprised and people cuss. We get, we hit our hands with the hammer, our finger, our toe, whatever, and we cuss. It's like, have you ever thought, why does it make it better? Does it actually make it better to say a certain word? Why not say other words? And it's just interesting to me that it really doesn't help any, but it's just something that we do. And the last type of cursing is this: intentional or unintentional inward cursing. Here's what it is. It's when we change the words. Okay, we change the words of what we want to say. And Christians are excellent, by the way, at cursing inwardly. Okay, here's what Tim Hawkins says. There's a list of Christian cuss words. In fact, he said he asked people to tell him like what Christians used to cuss, to replace cuss words with. He said he got a huge list. It took him about a week to go through, and he nailed it down. He narrowed it down to about 100. Now, I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to read a few of them that I think were funny because it's so true. Here's a list of Christian cuss words. Okay, shucks, rats, gosh, shizzle, toot, crapola, turd, good gravy, good grief, crud muffin. And it keeps going. The list keeps going on and on. I just got printed a little part of the list. This is the one that I feel like sometimes we need to be careful with. Okay, because sometimes if we just replace a word or a letter or the emphasis on something, maybe it's just a replacement, but we're still meaning the actual thing, and you need to weigh your heart, and no one else can tell. The inward cursing is what we need to make sure. You know what another type of cursing is that's also intentional, unintentional, and it's inward? It's when we make judgment calls. You don't have to insult someone to make a judgment call. You may just judge them and have a thought about who they are. You may judge them by how they look or what they say. You may judge them by an action they did. And you know what? In a sense, in the broadest sense of the word, you can be cursing someone, maybe just by making judgments about who they are. So what we need to think about, and the Bible says this, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And this is where I want to go today. See, all this, what we wear and what we are not wear during prayer or during worship, what we say is just a reflection of our heart. And that's where reverence needs to start. Reverence starts at the human heart. Verses 12 through 17. Matthew 21, verses 12 through 17. Jesus, this is his last week on earth, and he's getting ready to basically be killed and then be raised again. But before he does that, as he enters the city, he goes to the temple. Now, I want you, Alex, if you don't mind putting that picture of the temple. As you read these words, I want you to see the magnitude of God's temple, okay? How big that is. And so just listen to these words. Jesus entered the temple area and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said to them, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. The blind and the lame came to him at the temple and he healed them. But when the chief priests and the teachers of the law saw the wonderful things he did, and the children shouted in the temple area, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were indignant. "Do you hear what these children are saying?" they asked him. "Yes," replied Jesus. "Have you never read, 'From the lips of children and infants you have ordained praise'?" And he left them and went out of the city to Bethany, where he spent the night. Jesus goes into the temple, and you saw the magnificence of the temple at the time. And there was one of the sections of the temple. Alex, if you can play maybe the next picture, please. One of the sections of the temple was a section that was dedicated to the Gentiles. It was that outer section. If you see that main entrance here on the left side, you would go up, and that first section was a section where the Gentiles, everybody, basically, you didn't have to be a Jew to be there. They were able to go and worship God in that part. And this is the part where if you had some type of physical defect, you were not holy enough to go into the next area. But you were able to go into this area. If you were a Gentile, not a Jew, you were able to go into this area and worship from there. So while God, just didn't necessarily set it up this way, the tradition of the Jewish people had made it to be this way. But here's what had happened. Since this section, a lesser important section, was technically outside the holy part, what they did is they started setting tables in businesses. They started selling doves. And you know who was buying doves? People that were poor. The people that had money, they were able to buy a different type of sacrifice. The people that were poor were the ones buying pigeons or doves to offer sacrifices. And so they were, people started seeing, this religious, opportunity as an opportunity to make money. So Jesus goes in there. He realizes this is his last week maybe on earth, before he's crucified, and then he has to spend time with his disciples, and he decides to clear the temple. The Bible says, if you go to Psalm 69:9, here's what it says about the Lord Jesus, and this should be a prayer that it becomes our zeal for us. Psalm 69:9 says, "For zeal for your house consumes me, and the insults of those who insult you fall on me." Jesus takes it personal. And this is the deepest part of reverence that I want to see. So here's what's happening. Let me give you the picture of how God sees this. There are religious people that are taking the place of Gentiles and poor and lame and people with physical defects, with disabilities, maybe if you want to call it. And they're kicking them out of the temple so they can do business. That's what Jesus saw that day at the temple. You know what he did? In reverence of God, he kicked him out. He completely kicked him out. He turned the tables over. He got him, and you saw the temple was not a small place. We don't know how long it took him. We don't know if he did part of it or all of it. But the Bible says that he went and took his time. In fact, there are two accounts of him doing this same thing. One in John, the other earlier in his ministry. The other one in the other three Gospels. And in one says that he even sat down and made a whip. So he was, patient about it. He didn't do it maybe in so much anger, but he did flip the tables over. He was not apologetic. You know why? Because religious people have forgotten what reverence was all about and made God into a business. And that's one thing that we need to be careful. Maybe we might not make it into a business, but maybe we've forgotten the greater things that God wants us to remember to honor Him. See, it was supposed to be, a temple was supposed to be a house of prayer. A place where people could come in and just go to the Lord and leave everything there. Their sins, their burdens, anything that's going on. And these people had turned that into just a place where they could make money according to their traditions. So Jesus stood up for what God stood up. Jesus welcomed those who God welcomed. See, in verse 14 says that once he had cleared the temple, guess who came to him in that same area? Who were the same ones that were supposed to be there the whole time. The blind and the lame came to the temple, and he what? He healed them. That was what the temple was meant for. A place where people could come and find the Lord. See, we need to honor God's name with your attitudes, with our attitudes, and with our actions. We need to honor God's name with your attitude and actions. That is the deeper part of reverence. If we can honor God with our attitudes, with our hearts, and with our actions, then we will have no problem showing reverence with our words and what we wear. See, this is the second level. But here's what we need to understand. Reverence flows from our connection to Jesus. Let's go to John 5, 16 through 20. In this part, this is towards the beginning of the ministry of Jesus. And if you were to ask about Jesus' ministry, let me just tell you that by human standards, by church standards today, he just wasn't very good at gathering people. He would always start gathering them, and then he would say something and offend them and send them away. They would stop following him. But here's what he was after. He wasn't after seeking praise of people. He wasn't after revering people, even if they were leaders, even if they had money, even if this or that, which is what our human tendency is. The people that can give me something, right? It's like, I try to be nice to, because I can get something out of them. But you know what our tendency needs to be? Just like Jesus, we need to seek to revere the one that can give us anything and everything, and the one that can take it all away as well, which is God. And that's why Jesus didn't care to offend certain people, especially religious people, that were teaching others wrong, that were, using God's name and God's purposes in vain. And so here's what happened, verse 16. So because Jesus was doing these things on the Sabbath, the Jews persecuted him. Jesus said to them, "My Father is always at work, to this very day, and I too am working. For this reason, the Jews tried all the harder to kill him. Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God." Jesus gave them this answer. "I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can only do what he sees his Father doing. Because whatever the Father does, the Son also does. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all he does. Yes, to your amazement, he will show him even greater things than these." So Jesus says, and reverence flows from our connection to Jesus, from our connection to God. Because it is only when we're in relationship with God, when we're seeking him through prayer, when we're following him and obeying him, it is only when we do that that true reverence shows up in our lives and allows us to stand up for what he wants us to stand up, allows us to be quiet when we need to be quiet, allows us to say the things that we need to say, not only for our sake or his sake, but for the sake of the people that are watching. One of the pictures that I love the most that we have is the picture of Carol and I. We were painting the house. And, I can't remember how old he was. He was maybe 4 or 2. Okay. That's how good of a judge of age I am. So if I ever offend you, don't take it personal. It's me. I can't judge age. Okay. It was 2, Julie says. And I trust my wife in that. I was just painting, and he just wanted to get up there. Now, if you know me, I'm a little OCD about certain things. I really didn't want to let him paint, but he just wanted to do that. So I gave him this little brush, and I'm just going like that. And he's like doing it, getting it all over, which shouldn't be, but it's all good. The wall's still there. He painted, and looking back, I just see that as something dear to me, because my son just wanted to do what Dad was doing. And how cool is that? And how cool it would be for us, how great it would be for us to be able to be in a relationship with the Father, that we can see him at work in our lives, that we can see him at work in someone else's life and say, I want to do that. How can I help you do that, Lord? How can I jump in there and do exactly the same thing? And you know what? Sometimes you're going to make messes, just like Caleb did. Sometimes we're going to mess it all up and he's going to have to come back and clean up. Be like, good try, man, you're growing. But you know what? He is okay with that. If we would just understand that it is only through our relationship with him that we can understand true reverence. So this week, as we go on in our days, and I know that we're all at different places. I don't know where you are, but here's what I want to encourage you to do. And just let your attitude, your words, and your action honor God's holy name this week. The band's going to come up. The worship team is going to come up. And as they do that, we need to learn, that this week we just need to try to honor God's name with our words. I want to encourage you to be consistent. I don't know which kind of cursing you do at times, but just be consistent with your speech. Be aware of your testimony. Sometimes if you do it unintentionally, like I think most of us in this room might be able to, might just do it. If you do it unintentionally, just think about, how can I put different things in my heart so that eventually, I just, even not unintentionally, I don't do it. Maybe just honor God's name with your attitude. Focus on God. I love this quote, by the way, by Francois Fenelon. He was a bishop in Geneva in the 1700s. And he said, when you pray, imagine that Jesus Christ is in person and about to talk to you about the most important thing in the world. That's the kind of attention that reverence brings. See all those names that I read about God, I hope that one of them spoke to you. And I know I had to run through them. There were a lot of them, so I had to run pretty fast. But I just hope that you go back this week. All you have to do is Google search names of God and find one that you relate to. And then just allow that to speak into who God is in your life. And when you pray, I know that sometimes, I don't know, but I picture Jesus, and there are certain spots where, I just like to see Him, or certain ways that I like to see Him. But just think not only about what you have to say. Sometimes we speak too much and don't realize that He wants to speak back into our lives. Reverence allows for focus. Reverence allows for us to see what God has to tell us. And then lastly, we need to show reverence with our attitudes by submitting ourselves to the Lord. So whether you're a Christian of many years, guess what? Tomorrow you're going to have a new challenge to submit completely to His will. Maybe you are, it's the first time you come to church in a long time. Today you have a challenge. Submit yourself to God's will maybe for the first time. If it means confessing His name, we see there's power in the labels that we give to people. There's power on the labels that God has given to Himself, on the names that He's given to Himself. What a beautiful name, what a wonderful name, what a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus. And it is in that name that we confess Him, that we say with the heart we believe for righteousness, but with our mouths we confess for salvation. And it is, in that name, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, that we're baptized also into Him. So we can do any of those things today. You can be baptized, you can confess Jesus Lord and Savior, and you can decide, to have a new sense of reverence and awe of the God of the universe that sustains you and that provides for you every day. Hey, if you're still watching, we just want to thank you for coming by and just watching this message. And I just want to share real fast, the reason why Harvester does this is because we believe that people need to hear about the Lord Jesus. It is our mission to lead people to find and follow Him. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have not received Jesus in your life ever, I just want you to listen to these words in John 3:16. It says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have eternal life. For God did not send His Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through Him." So if you have never received Jesus into your life, I encourage you, investigate. Take some time. This is the most important decision that you could ever make. And so what we're going to do is we're going to show you right here at the bottom of the screen just our website. You can always go to harvesterchristian.org and find out a little more about our church. And if you don't live locally, then I just invite you find a church that you call home, that believes in the Bible as the Word of God, and just start worshiping, start learning more about who our Lord is. I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching.